social media, right?
Yeah.
And so, are they targeted ads, or are these fans already following the rights holder?
So the fans, so either they kind of subscribe for the apps of the rights holders or the leagues, or consume their content through social media venues, channels, such as Facebook, YouTube, etc. Obviously, there are a lot of items kind of that a client such as WC Sports needs to keep up with, such as the shift from one social media platform to another. Say in the beginning it was just Facebook, YouTube, etc. And now we're talking about Snapchat and obviously TikTok, and there needs to be constant efforts around making sure that all these platforms are integrated into a centralized place with respect to each rights holder.
So can you briefly explain what the contractual framework is? So does WSC need to have a direct relationship with, let's say, broadcasters, so whoever's providing the feed, or is it incumbent on the rights holder to ensure that the broadcaster or whoever is delivering the feed delivers the feed also to the
Yeah, so great question, Natalie. So for the most part, it's the latter option. Namely, they are relying on the rights holder to provide the streams and the data in order to power the platform, so to speak, and create the content. Obviously, WC having kind of a technology solution. So it signs deals from time to time with data owners and data providers, but for the most part, it relies on the rights holder.
I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it, but I've noticed that WSC have a deal with Amazon to deliver sort of in-play highlights to fans. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, to a certain extent, obviously. But yeah, I see, working with clients like WSC for the past 15 years with WSC, almost 10 years, I can see a tremendous shift in the scope and type of agreements we are covering for them from, sorry, 7, 8 years ago, we were talking about agreements. We were handling mainly agreements with the rights owners. And now you see a large shift towards handling agreements with the tech giants, with the Amazons of the world, etc. And obviously you can see that in the market itself in terms of the deals, the broadcasting deals being signed these days. Take the most recent NFL deal as an example, where Amazon and obviously Disney through their ESPN and Disney streaming services got into that deal. And you can see that clients, companies such as WSC Sports, with their additional ancillary services, are powering these tech giants who have the knowledge and positioning to bring the tech and the innovation into that industry, as opposed to standard rights holders.
And a general question. Is there any innovation being driven by the rights holders? So obviously, you have a lot of third-party tech companies who have a certain expertise and are kind of lending that to sports. But is there anything that you see, all three of you, that the federations, leagues, clubs are driving in terms of innovation?
There are a couple of trends I think you see across the board. Number one, rights holders getting into streaming themselves. And increasingly, you see that with rights holders or sports wanting to have that direct to consumer relationship. It's very data dependent, and it's a strategy which is more of a long-term play, I think, for rights holders, but that's a trend you can certainly see. Another one, probably a smaller example, but in terms of to Amir's comment around the segmentation of geographical markets, what we've seen is that rights holders are wanting to hold on to virtual signage rights so that they can potentially commercialize a sponsorship property in different ways in different markets. So you might sell a on grass signage position, a premium signage position to Budweiser in the US and to Heineken in Europe and to Foster's or whoever in Australia. And so you can effectively sell a position 3 times. And that's a very exciting thing for rights holders. It really opens up a lot of interesting international commercial strategy options, and that's something that we've seen as a feature of recent broadcasting agreements. The third thing would probably be around app development. It's not something that rugby is particularly a market leader in, but if you look at the NBA app, for example, that now integrates the NBA League Pass, so you can watch live content on that app. There's various bet stream betting applications and fantasy applications, but effectively a one-stop shop for NBA content. And I think the NBA has been a real market leader in that. There are a few things.
I think most of the innovation now is being driven by third-party players. But yes, as you said, the apps are the big change. A few years back, you couldn't imagine that Rugby Australia or NBA or even ICC would have their own apps. Now everybody has their apps, and fantasy sports and betting, actually in countries like India or probably even UAE where betting is not legal, or probably even in Singapore where they have a law against unlicensed betting, things are just running because all of them are classified as fantasy sports and they're not covered by the licenses. So things have actually grown, and I think a lot of these leagues are doing very well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And moreover, I think that maybe as opposed to, and I totally agree with you, Patrick, that the NBA has been, I think, the single most innovative rights holder in recent years. But it's not. It's kind of, for leagues such as the NBA and NFL, they have massive. Let's face it, they have massive deals out there. I think it is far more important in terms of these apps and reaching out to clients directly, the fans directly. I think it is far more important for other leagues, other sports, less relevant, well, still relevant obviously, but less fan engaged in the world. That's probably a revenue driver for them.
Not just that, actually, like it's gonna bring those sports into main league, just like we educated you about kabaddi in the morning.
Yeah, I learned something new this morning about a certain sport I had no idea exists.
So the leagues are gonna make them more popular, and the apps and the technology is gonna actually aid to that.
So just to go back to